Hey, so our family was traveling down to Florida, and we stayed with our good friends Dave and Beth, who've known since I was a child. And we were looking, and he started showing me his garden, and I wanted to go ahead and share that with all of you. As one of the big ideas of our farm and our channel is to show and inspire all of you that at whatever level you want to get involved with producing your own food, take those steps. You know, whether you want to do like a full farm like we're working on, building the family homestead, or just put up a little garden, grow a few crops, whatever works for you. The key is take whatever steps that you can. And here's one of those great examples here where they're growing a little bit in their backyard. And I want to show what they're doing and some of the adaptations they've made to fit their life. And so this is Dave here. I want to thank you for coming on the channel so you can share some of what you're doing. And we're going to show first some of the decorative plants that he does just for enjoyment here, and then we'll go ahead and get to the food crops he's raising. Right.
Hi, I'm Dave. Just wanted to show you some of the things that I've been growing. I've been growing my own aloe plant here, which is good for some food supplements and also for burns, and it's also helps for your skin and stuff in some areas. I got some of these vines growing up just for decoration. And these down here are called bromeliads. I had these, and I had them out in the sun, and they wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't bloom. Then I realized somebody told me, oh, those are a shade. Those grow better in the shade. So when I put it in the shade, then I started getting this nice bloom on here, and I'm waiting for the pups to start growing their blooms. All these three came off of this one plant.
So a good reminder that you need to make sure whatever plants you choose to grow, whether it be shade, sun, a lot or a little water, make sure you know what your plants need.
Yeah,
and that'll make them
where they need to go. And these are pretty much just succulent plants. These are pretty much desert plants, so they don't need as much water. I have the I don't know the names of all of them. I just started growing them because I liked them. I got a couple barrel cactuses. I got another one over here, and it looks like it has some pups getting ready to grow off of it. This one here is called the Lifesaver cactus. The bloom on this one is just comes out and looks like a purple lifesaver. This is more like another type of aloe plant. And then I have this down here, and then I got this big old, looks like a Sorrero type of cactus. I'm not sure if that's what it is, but I like it.
Yeah, so it's all what you enjoy growing just for enjoyment there. But here's what I really wanted to show. Oh yeah, we can stop off here. This, you were mentioning this plant before too.
What these are, and they're ready to harvest right now, is turmeric and ginger.
Both with some good medicinal value there.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, this is what I wanted to show. I know you talked about you've kind of got different things going on in your life, and you just wanted to grow a little bit to get some good homegrown plants there. So tell us about it.
Well, I did have some tomatoes in there a couple of years ago, and I since put in some basil. I have some onions. This onion here has been growing for quite a while, and every time I get an onion, you can cut the end off where the stub is, and you could stick it in the ground, and it'll reproduce your onions.
Oh, I wanted to, that's great, and that's actually one good thing. I give a lot of people some ideas of how they can save some of their grocery store items and make it homegrown.
Yeah.
I also wanted to note, I know you were saying before we got on camera how you actually had some other things growing here earlier. We won't focus on too much on what they are, but point is, the time of year we're looking at right here, we're coming into winter, so right. Crops are down a little bit, but there's things that'll grow at all times of the year. So.
Yeah. And I have my asparagus plant. I planted this about 3 years ago, so it's about ready to do harvesting on it. Mm-hmm. They have to take at least 3 years to get well rooted in order to start working. I have chives. They're pretty much year round down here because we don't have too much. When it freezes in Florida, I bring my plants in. So, but the big thing I wanted to tell you about is I have some physical problems. I can't do a lot of bending or kneeling down. So what I had done is I've just taken some wood that I had. I got some pressure treated wood for the outsides. I got just whatever I could find to build my elevated bed here. And this one here, because of some health reasons, I haven't been able to work for the last year and a half, but I'm getting back out to it now. But I'm getting ready to fill in the other side. I built onto this. Right now it's just full of it's storage, but I'm gonna clean this out, put some cloth down underneath it, fill it up. One good tip on these things is make sure you fill the dirt up to the top because it gives you a better root base down underneath. One thing I found with the other bed is I didn't put enough dirt in it, so it takes longer for some of the stuff to grow and it doesn't mature as well. Then I have another table I built over here for working on plants.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them here, I propagated this avocado tree.
And that you just grew from a seed from the store?
Yeah, I ate the avocado and took the seed out and propagated that.
Which I know with a lot of people is a very popular one to get started as a plant to raise. And I noticed too, now something we hadn't talked about, but it looks like you actually build a lot of this out of pallets.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could take any kind of wood. I mean, pallets are good sturdy wood because if they weren't, they wouldn't be used that much. Yeah. And then I had some old shelving. The posts were broken, so I just laid that on top of the pallet to give me a nice firm table.
Mm-hmm. So and I can see under here it looks like this base was from a pallet too, and
yes,
and just some 4x4s and some other planks put together with that.
And that's basically my garden, but it's like I said, it does help that it's raised up. I don't have to do a lot of bending over to do it. I know some people have the raised beds that are down here, but I can't even do that, so I had to put mine on the table.
Yeah, so you don't have to bend down for any work at all in this.
No.
And now tell me about, I see on the floor here, the floorboard.
I had a fence put in. You can see it's nice fencing. There's gaps in between the boards. They just slide together like a tongue and groove so the water can actually flow through it. I took what I had left over and put it on the floor of this, and then put my cloth on there. And
your weed cloth, right? That's
the
cloth you mean? Yep.
And I put that on there, and it seems. And another thing that I did that some people, I put a bunch of worms in my dirt. And what I did is this is kind of like my compost. I haven't put much in here lately, but the compost, the worms will come up and eat the compost, and then they go down and fertilize it. So it's kind of like a self-fertilizing bed.
Oh, so you got your compost. It's a small-scale household compost, but right there in the garden bed, so the worms go back and forth between the compost and the rest of the garden.
Yeah. And if I dig through here, I'm sure I'll find some worms in there.
Yeah.
And that's about it for what I have, but it's small, but it's something you could start with.
And can you tell me about some of the materials? I know we were talking about this.
This up here, I just wanted to keep the birds off the plant. So I took some PVC pipe, real thin, 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch PVC pipe, and I drilled holes in the boards, and I just bend it over, and I had them all cut the same length. I made the frame first out of the pressure treated wood, and then I laid this screen over the top of it. That way it keep the birds out of it.
And I remember you said when you first put it in, these plants, which are more shade preferring plants, you got a little hot, or they were getting a little hot and not growing very well.
Yeah, so I just went up to the my local Lowe's, and they had the shade material in rolls, so I just bought a couple feet of the shade material, and I put that on top, and that's really helped on some of the plants. Even the other plants that have full sun, I mean, it'll still let them have a little rest, because the Florida sun can be brutal in the summer.
Yes. And so all this, to kind of sum it up, this whole garden was basically made out of scrap and a little other wood, and just that leftover fencing material, which you can kind of consider could be any type of material that would have just be able to cover the bottom, and then you put weed netting underneath to kind of keep the whole garden intact.
Right.
And then the dirt on top, and then this top frame was again just some pieces of wood, the PVC pipes to form the frame, and then the bird netting, and then the shade netting on top of that, and that's your entire garden.
And even if you have your bed on the ground, if you put something like this on there, it'll keep rabbits and stuff out of it also.
Yeah. So yeah, this could really be adapted at any level. If someone wants to do something in ground, they probably just eliminate the floor and the legs and just do their bed around it, and then the PVC and the netting and the covering, and there's your homegrown food.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Oh, and thank you very much for having us, and thanks for taking the time to share what you've done to help grow your own food too.
Thank you.